I was never.
Hello, and welcome to Group Assembled. There's Craig, there's David, there's Susan, there's me. We're doing another cast this week for a 1980 movie called 1980.
I know.
Oh, so long ago.
I wasn't born.
A popular comedy parody movie, which was a big blockbuster of the time. We are talking Airplane.
Airplane.
Yeah, people assumed it was a parody of all the 1970s airport disaster movies, which it was. I only recently found out it was also a word for word remake of a 1957 movie called 0 Hour, which was a drama film, not comedy. But if you go on YouTube, check out the screen by screen comparisons, and the dialogue is just amazing.
It's exact.
It's exact. It's just that one is not a comedy and one is. So let's go to opening thoughts on Airplane. So we'll go down the left aisle first to seat number 3. Susan.
Well, let's see. I don't remember if I saw this until it came out on VHS, because the one that we'd seen together as a family was Airport 76. It was, but really liked it, and it's got so much hilarity, and the cast is really, really great.
Oh shit!
Some classic people in. All right.
And there's some people that Alex will talk about when he comes back, and the story is there's an airplane that takes off from Los Angeles and is somewhere around the middle of the middle of the West, and all the people who ate fish were suddenly sick and passed out. And that was some messed up fish.
Yeah, I remember that bit. That's classic.
Anyway, the captain, none of the flight crew were awake, and so they needed to find somebody to help, and they found this guy played by Hayes.
Oh, good.
And became an iconic role, actually, like a long-term role, and I don't know, I really like it. Here's Alex to tell you more of.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this in a way was a parody of both. It was a parody of both airplane disaster movies and disaster movies, which were big in the 70s.
Yeah.
And also as sort of a 99% 0 hour
I didn't know that,
movie, except the 0 hour one was played very deadpan, and Airplane, except for Leslie Nielsen, was played for comedy. It's just the way that they do it, and I know that it's probably not very popular right now because I think it's insensitive. But it was great. That was the nice thing about the 70s, was you did have a lot of risque, sort of wild comedy. The 80s, the sequel, the 80s one was basically kind of, they were ripping off themselves, but the original people did not write it. As funny as William Shatner was in the sequel, though, they were basically just ripping off the first movie and basically just copying it.
But the first movie was written by Jim Abrams, who I would like to think of as J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah.
I
Star
don't know how you did. Well, that's you. Okay, Wayne, whatever you say, Wayne. So, no, I mean, it's funny because also it's like throw everything at the kitchen sink or throw everything at the wall.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like a cousin of Mel Brooks. But the
Yeah.
funny thing is, even though his movies aren't politically correct, they do actually have a point. And I think that's the problem with the internet and the social justice, warriors. Even though they mean well, they don't realize that, of course, you have to appeal to all types of humor. And that's not going to be the super social conscious type of thing.
Yeah, but
People laugh at many different things. There's slapstick, which is in this movie and in the second one as well.
very
You
slapstick.
know, there's puns, there's,
Yeah.
cool things. I mean, they should know watching any comedian. Some comedians are very dirty and swear all the time, and some are not. There's many different types of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Exactly.
So the thing that's funny about this is, I remember even when I first saw it and I thought it was a little wild. That's the point too. The universe is wild. It's not we're
Yeah.
super polite, super, we don't want to offend you. And that's part of comedy too. Comedy is the opposite of tragedy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
That's,
just kind of have to let it be. It is what it is. Now, if it's
Mhm.
cruel or thoughtless, like Americans wouldn't laugh if you were hurting dogs or hurting kids and
yeah.
stuff like that. Even though there are scenes in both movies of this, weird joke going around
Yeah, when
in the airplane.
the
But
girl,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Oh,
but
yeah.
but that's
and the
the
boy in the cockpit.
right. And that's the other thing.
All right.
So the funny thing is,
Jim never vomits at home.
right. So, that's based on a commercial. But the funny thing is, not only was that based on a coffee commercial, which was very big back then. Now I don't know why they're not really that big. And also, they had a couple of people, like that couple, the woman that got all the eggs in her mouth. Now her husband was in Barney Miller 5 times. And in the second movie, they're together, but they're a different name. It's the exact same couple, but they're a different name. And in the second movie, the wife says, "Oh, you got hold of some bad acid at a concert, and you thought you were Jesus Christ." And it's like, and that's the point,
Yeah.
is that part of the humor, and part of humor is it can be gross, it can be funny, it can be accidentally funny, it can be deadpan, it can be snot. There's all different types. And I think America's kind of forgotten. There's all different types of humor. It's not just one humor. So as long as you're punching up, you're not punching down or taking advantage of people, or taking
That's it.
right, or taking
There you
advantage.
go, Alex.
Because these films are like a joke a minute, like naked, like the Naked Gun. There's like a joke in every scene or line.
Yeah. So I mean, again, the ironic part is that he was known as a serious actor up until that point, and he was in the original Hawaii 5-0, and there was somebody else from Barney
Nielsen
Miller.
was it?
Yep, he was in the original pilot of Hawaii 5-0.
Hey, that's right. Before
Not
they got
not the remake, not the remake.
yeah.
And so was somebody else from Barney Miller as well. So it's kind of funny how the worlds are like
Yeah.
intersecting.
And what about Peter Graves? I mean, Mr. Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he didn't. Right, he didn't do too much comedy. In the second one, he's pretty much the same character, just working for NASA basically. But it's the
But he
exact
got
same
the
guy.
same name.
Right, it's exact. Yeah, so I mean,
Oh,
I
only-
understand why they did that, but the problem was it wasn't as original. But I mean, obviously it's the 80s, so they can't keep being in the 70s, even though they played Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah.
which was 70s. So it's kind of weird, it's a strange universe, but that's where what's his name was really good. The
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
yeah, that too. But I'm saying a Shatner.
Yeah.
That's the second one.
Right. But I'm saying, like, the funny thing is that that's another type of humor as well that people forget. You can be dead serious, or you don't know, like with me. Sometimes I don't know I'm funny. So I'll say something and everybody else will laugh. And my mind's like, huh? Because I'm saying it's serious, but other people are saying, oh, well, he meant that as a joke. No, I didn't. So that's where they got the joke of, a cockpit where, what is it? Well, it's where the pilots sit, but that's not important right now. So, that's sort of, or I can't tell for another 2 hours, it felt, and then Leslie says, you can tell me I'm a doctor,
and stop calling me.
Yeah, so they've got all that type of humor. Like I was telling her that scene where they met in the dive bar.
Oh yeah.
Somebody stabs the guy that Elena's originally dancing with, and he goes, he's trying to point at the knife, his back.
Pinch me.
Because it's disco, he just thinks it's doing moves. Like, that's funny. Yeah, that's it's for a bad reason, but it's funny.
It's scatological, isn't it? Scatological,
yeah. So I mean, it's kind of funny that way.
Leslie Nielsen, he was like Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
All the genius, and then he plays this deadpan part, and he suddenly realizes I'm a comedy actor. He didn't even know, in a sense. But by playing it not comedy, he becomes a great comic genius.
I've got a question for Craig and David, a separate one. So for David, have you, do you watch gladiator movies?
Which one, sorry?
Do you like watching gladiator movies?
The only one I've seen is the one with Russell Crowe.
And the question to Craig is,
I've never been to a Turkish prison.
have you? I was going to say, do you like? In gymnasiums.
I'm
always hanging around a gymnasium.
Johnny, have you ever been in a sort of cockpit with some
my doctor said I've got high triglycerides, and I said, so what do I take for that? And she said, your prescription is the gym. So she must have been watching Airplane.
Which gym though? That was the thing.
Yeah, I'm always doing gym.
Jim Carrey, Jim Beam, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other question. Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
To you two, everybody.
It's over to you two.
Oh. Well,
cheers, Lee.
Yeah, Robert Stack, I thought was just
I've drunk. Cheers.
They got all these great series, Robert Stack, as Sue was saying, and they put them all in this like uncomfortable, out of their comfort zone. In a sense, they had to play a sort of comedy.
My favourite scene, but I think it's the other movie where this is really bad, where the woman's freaking out, and then there's a whole queue of people.
That's an Airplane.
It was.
And I've changed the whole thing, and it's a woman sitting in her seat, not wearing a mask, and everybody's coming up to her and slapping her.
Yes.
You will wear your mask, Karen.
Spraying them with Dettol nowadays.
No, but I mean, she's panicking. But of course, the funny thing is, you've got the doctor and the nuns slapping her as well, and then somebody comes up with a crowbar, and somebody comes up with a gun. It's like, okay. And then the funny thing is, she's back in the second movie as well. And then they sort of do it. They do the courtroom version of that too. Yeah. And then they bring back the two black guys that are talking their two languages. The subtitles are one thing, and then when they're in the court, right? So when they're in the second movie.
Can I ask?
I thought it was the Scat Man, but it's not, is it?
It's jive. Can I ask? Is that proper language? Is jive? Is that how it?
Jive talk.
That is a proper language.
That's how it sounded.
No, just like Snoop Dogg, even though he technically stole it from somebody else.
Right.
It is, it's a street language. It's street.
It's a good job there was subtitles because I didn't understand the word they were saying.
No, just hang loose, blood, relax, lay them down and smack them, yak them, that could have more than one, like in reality, when you say get down, that could mean dancing, or that could mean the other dancing, but
someone got down with the autopilot.
Somebody got down with Otto, didn't they?
So
they had to blow him up. God, that was so funny.
Right. So I mean, so that's the other thing, which they also use in horror movies.
I love
and all that. Yeah.
I loved it when they said they kept dragging the pilots down the corridor, and then finally she said, "Does anyone? Don't, there's no need to panic, but does anyone know how to fly a plane?" That was brilliant.
Yeah. Or the what's the other one? Come on, actually the same guy I was talking about from Barney Miller, the guy in the blue plaid striped jacket, and he stands up, he says to Dr. Rumack, that's his name, says, "We deserve to know the truth," and he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna level with you all," and then the nose starts growing and growing.
Brilliant.
So that's the thing, is that there's so many different types of humor. And I think that's the only problem with the last 20 years, is like they only want one type of humor. And now some humor gets big, some doesn't, and that's fine, as long as I'm not forced to listen to it or watch it. But there's so many different, but again, there's so many different types of humor. And then, just like Mel Brooks and just like Airplane, it's written for a specific point. It's not just to gross out. A couple of the jokes are to gross out, but not everything. So I think that's the other point, because I don't mind if two black guys are speaking jive. That was the 70s, that was the 80s, that's what they do. And they, and they were dignified, they weren't, ignorant, they just were talking their way. So I mean, now at the end, when Barbara Billingsley goes, don't need no help anyhow, which she's like, basically saying, I give up. But other than that, even in that joke, he says, I dug her rap, so it's, but I liked it when they brought them back in the second movie too. Of course, they did have that sight gag that's a little bit, where the court reporter has the sunglasses on, like, Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles. That's probably a little offensive, but I still found it, funny.
The more offensive, the more funnier humor is.
But I mean, again,
if you take away parts of any type of humor, it doesn't become. It's not funny anymore.
Unfunny, yeah.
It's unfunny. And I think I picked the wrong day to give up drinking.
That's Pepsi.
As long as you're not sniffing glue.
I give up the wrong time to get online.
That was the other part of the movie, where the guy was drinking from the same guy I'm talking about was drinking from the whiskey, the blue striped plaid jacket guy. And then the other woman's like, certainly not, but she's doing cocaine or whatever. So it's like, oh well, that's very American, We drink, but we can have the cocaine.
And we get a boob shot.
Yes.
Everybody's panicking on the plane. A pair of breasts come bubbling across the screen.
And she's still alive. She's still alive, and she's still
Turkey.
She's still alive, and it's an operation, but she's still
pinky turkey.
So I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, it is basically, throw everything against the wall and see what sticks.
See what sticks, yeah.
I mean, as long as you're punching up and you're not cruel, I'll tolerate a lot of humor.
You even get the shit hitting the fan.
What's that now?
Literally.
Oh, that's where I've got it from.
The shit hitting
The shit's at the fan, boy.
And then what
You have to really be watching the screen non-stop to get everything, because
all the jokes,
everything is just thrown straight.
It's just, you got to watch it. I mean, even watch it again and still miss some bits, and you see the bits, and it's one of them ones where it's like, just don't get bored of it.
No.
That's all.
I mean, if you watched it all the way through until the end of the credits, the guy in the taxi is still waiting there.
He is.
Another great gag.
And the white zone is for they're unloading and loading only, and
where they start arguing. That was at the time as well, because he was arguing because you don't want me to have an abortion, blah blah. God.
Well, we better check out Kruger.
Yeah, I know.
No, we gotta go, guys.
We've got
No,
gotta-
but you know, the funny thing is though, I mean, that was the other, what was it, the other, you know, even though there were a couple of jokes in there that probably would be considered cruel. But the funny thing is when Robert Stack goes into the airport and then he gets all this, you know, do you want to join this religion? Do you want to give this donation? And you have to laugh because I said, yeah, now the modern version of that would be the robocall, you know,
Yeah,
but that's the way it was back then, that you go
That's
to the airport, like the bus station, and you bump into all types of people, you know,
that's right.
people that are, you know, but even though it's wrong, it was funny that
Definitely the
he's,
way
you know,
airports
he's
are.
doing the karate chop and throwing and, you know, and it's mean, but, you know, that's the way it was back then. That you had everybody, you know,
So he
like a
just-
donation,
he's buying-
like a donation, yeah.
Everybody are chopped up.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah, go on.
Ying Po, Ying Tong.
Oh, right. I thought you was going to say something. You put your hand up.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've got to go to the loo. We gotta go get our food, man. We just
I know. So,
come at the wrong time.
I know.
That's so. Just give us your scores, and you can.
Oh, it's
Okay.
it's a 10,
Definitely a 10.
10 hysterical women.
It's 10
dealt with
nuns
by
smashing the guitar in the
EasyJet.
back of everyone's head.
You're free to go.
All right.
I've just taken me drip out.
Oh yeah. That bouncing heart on the desk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the guy's shaving in the bathroom too, and then he keeps shaving. The
Yeah,
camera's
yeah.
moving in every direction, and you want to keep shaving?
Someone with the makeup.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go get
The
it.
one
All
with
right.
the
We'll
makeup.
see
I'll
you
see you
in 2
guys
weeks'
next
time.
week.
Yeah, if we're doing it, I'll
If
most
we're on. If we're on, we're on.
yeah, if we're on, we're on. Okay.
All right.
Okie dokie. See you twos later.
Bye from London
Yeah, bye from London.
and Newcastle.
And they're gone. Right, so Susan, anything else you'd like to say about Airplane?
No, it's amazing. And
It still stands up to date. I mean, I agree with what Alex says about the humour.
Yeah.
This wouldn't get made now.
No.
And if they tried to make it now with the same sort of humour, they'd be hung, drawn, and quartered.
yeah,
But it's funny. It's not picking on one type of person. It's across the board.
definitely.
You know, you say you've got blacks, you've got the other joke about the Jewish airline.
Yeah.
With the Jewish airline with the hair on the plane.
On the Hasidic,
Yeah.
hair on the plane.
Um,
And the the Zitzi.
yeah. I mean, they didn't just pick on one type of person, one type of religion. It was an open book.
Yeah,
And that's how comedy should be like.
and they were intentional about every single thing on the screen, and Julie, hang on a second.
And there's also the character, is it Johnny? Character Johnny, who's the camp, one of the air traffic control people
Yeah,
who going about Rapunzel and Rapunzel. You know, what do you make of this? Well, I could make a hat, a brooch. I mean, that was so funny. He
Yeah.
died. He died young.
yeah. Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty
Yeah.
were so good together. That was so fun.
Yeah, that was his name. Steven Stucker.
Steven Stucker.
Yeah, and he was back in both movies.
Yeah, he died in 86.
Yeah, and the director was in it as one of the religious people.
Yeah, Stucker was one of the first actors to openly say that he had AIDS.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think he
And
died.
Barbara Billingsley from Leave It to Beaver was in it. She was
Yeah.
the one who smoked jive.
Ethel Merman.
Ethel Merman.
Yeah, he believes he's Ethel Merman. And there she is in the bed singing around.
And I mean, you think it's like the Monty Python sketch where the guy thinks he's Ethel Merman
Yeah,
or whatever.
Eartha Kitt or whatever.
Eartha Kitt.
yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, also you got Bridges in this as well, of course. As is it McCroskey or whatever his name is?
Yeah, McCarthy, yeah.
Giving up coffee, giving up cigarettes, giving up drink, giving up glue sniffing.
Yep.
Then jumping out the control window.
Yeah, David Leisure was in this, who was
One of the Hardy Krishnas. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. There was the airline, the Hare Krishna airline on the second one.
yeah.
Pat Sajak was in the first one as the Chicago
Television announcer.
Yeah, television. Yeah. So it's really, but
Jimmy
again,
Walker was the windshield.
Yeah, he was.
Wiper
the windshield.
man.
Yeah, he was.
And Jill Whelan, who played the captain's daughter on Love Boat.
Well, no, but she was the little girl in Ivy. Now that a lot of people have said that joke is bad, like when the stewardess brings the guitar, and I guess she accidentally hits the IV.
I laughed.
Or has to solve it. Yeah, that's a little cruel, but it was the 70s too. The humor was. That's the other thing. People forget every decade's a little different. The music's a little different. The TV's a little different. The humor is a little different. And imagine how different this movie would have been if they had had the internet and cell phones. Oh my God. I mean, it was, and then even in the air traffic controller was pretty funny. They had that guy with the leather jacket and he was going, oh, he's up, he's down, what an a-hole and all that, right? It turns out he plays cops in a lot of movies, but that one he didn't
So
play
many
cop.
movies.
So it's so funny how, but that's the thing. It's like a Mel Brooks school of humor in a way, it's not meant to be politically
That
correct,
was
but at
Robert
the same point,
Stack.
right. But at the same point, it's not as offensive as a lot of people now think it is. But that's the thing. Comedy, you're supposed to make fun of people. That's
People believe what they hear and see on the internet, and what people say is insulting, and it's not. People believe all what these people say. Why don't the people just go out and check out the movie themselves instead of listening to what these people say about oh, you should be watching this, it's insulting. It's not.
Well, no, but the other, now what you're saying is right if you look at it from, they watch like 2 YouTube videos and then they think they know everything about a subject. That's not how life works.
And that's not how education happens.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we do on this group on this channel, is make your own mind up. Watch the movie. If you don't like it, you say you don't like it, and bring up all the bad things about it. You don't listen to one person saying you shouldn't be watching this. Watch it yourself and make your own mind up.
Wow.
That's what I would say.
I just said his hand on
That's
fire.
true.
Yeah. So, anything else you'd like to say about Airplane?
It was truly a joy to watch again, and can't wait till we do the second parts of both of these movies that we've done this weekend.
We will get to them.
But we all needed a little bit of comedy this weekend, so.
And we did. We had some comedy. I really enjoyed sitting down watching this movie. It brought back some great memories because we said at the beginning of this, I think it was you, Susan, you don't remember if you went to the cinema or you saw it on VHS to begin with.
Right.
I definitely know it was VHS for me when I first saw this. And when you used to go to the video rental shops, like Blockbusters or whatever they're called, I used to get this one out then take it back, and then a couple of weeks later, I used to get it out again.
So it was a repeat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the certain movies going back then, I used to do that. A couple of weeks, get it out again. The Airplane, Friday the 13th, so things like that. Just used to do that. And if I enjoyed the movie, I'll watch it again.
For sure.
Yeah. And it just brought back memories of me sitting down when I was 10 or 11. I mean, it is 15 rated, but it was 10 or 11 watching this.
Of course it was. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. Some great memories. So shall we go to last words to you then?
Sure. It is it's definitely a 10. 10 slaps in the face out of 10. I mean, not that we extol the virtue of violence in this group or nothing, but
I do.
Yeah, I just rewrote that whole scene with all these Karens who are, freaking out over taking off their mask and beating up flight attendants. So I just think a little turnabout is fair play in that respect.
Yeah.
So this joke, resonated well with me.
Right.
Yeah, and I had, the airline that's on it made fun of TWA.
Uh-huh.
And I used to work for TWA in Yellowstone Park.
Ah.
And yeah, it's an airline that no longer exists, and it's a concession group that no longer exists. So nothing in this movie is making fun of anything that's around anymore.
Oh, I
So
mean,
there.
yeah. No, I mean, again, it's.
You can't even drop people off at the front door. They leave your taxi in front of an airport, and will get towed just like that.
Well, no, I mean, unfortunately, that's the other thing in a way too. I mean, it's funny, but it isn't. With all the other real life things that are going on, some of those jokes may hit a little hard. Like in the second one, they let people with guns go by, but then they stop and frisk an old lady.
Yeah.
But again, when that was made, they didn't realize about the tragedies that were going to happen in the 90s and the 2000s because it was made in 82.
Right, because it was before that.
Yeah, so I mean, the funny thing is, it's sort of funny in a way how just like science fiction, even comedy can make predictions about what might happen in the future and past. No, the original Airplane, I'll always give a 9 because the timing, the editing, the direction, the fact that everybody's playing it so deadpan like 0 Hour, but they're doing it for comedy. And then there's so many, sight gags. So it's kind of funny how, in a way, Family Guy and other things now are actually imitating Airplane in a way, or imitating Mel Brooks. The problem is they need to realize that's the point of comedy, just like drama. You either take everybody seriously or you take everybody in a funny way, to make your point. There's nothing wrong with mockery as long as you punch up. If you punch up, that's cool. If you don't, that's where the humor gets, bad. Because nobody's perfect. That's the whole point of comedy, is that you're supposed to make fun of everything because nothing's perfect. Or it seems perfect, but it goes the wrong way. So
that's a really good score for you.
So that's the point.
Nearly perfect for you.
So
well, what shall I give it? Oh, it's going to be 10, of course. 10. It's going to be 10 jiggly breasts across the screen out of 10. Why not?
Yeah.
You don't expect that bit in this movie, though. That's it. Just, what did I just see go past the screen?
Well, you know why they put that in there because isn't it?
It was titillating.
No, but right, but isn't it the point of like when we watch the Kentucky Fried Movie, which is also making fun of trailers,
Yeah.
just like Tropic Thunder. Now, there's parts in there that actually offend me, but I understand it's being done for comedy, and they have the fake trailers, just like Kentucky Fried Movie from 1977 had the fake trailers, right?
Yeah.
Like the black exploitation Pam Grier character with a huge fro marrying a Jewish guy. Which back in 77 was a wild idea, but that's the point of this type of humor. You make fun a little bit at everybody, as long as you're not doing it in a super negative way,
Yeah,
it's cool, so that I think that's what, it's the same thing, just like tragedy, just like things that are serious, you go in the opposite direction. It's the same thing,
yeah.
but that's also life too. Life is like that. Some things are funny, some things are not. Some things are accidentally funny, some things are not.
Well, there you go. So that is our little review of Airplane.
Oh, we have the two together, so we couldn't help watching the second one.
Oh, yeah, I've got two upstairs somewhere. So I'd like to thank Susan, Alex, and the two retrobates who disappeared, Craig and David, talking Airplane from 1980. You guys out there, please leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Let us know what you thought of our casts. Make a suggestion or what we could do. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. So if you want to be on our cast and group, leave a message. All we ask is you're 18, got a camera, got a microphone, and able to have a Zoom, and you're in. Also on YouTube, if you want to be notified by our videos when we put them up, please press the bell button and you'll get notification every time we put one up. So I think Susan's going to get that bell fixed.
Winking at you.
Winking. So I think that is it. So until next time, happy flying, and we'll see you. Be safe.
Be sure to wear your seatbelt and keep your tray tables and seat backs in their full upright position.
And don't have the fish.
And don't eat the fish, whatever you do.